Hey everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. In this video, we're going to talk about prepping for the elderly, possibly disabled, low income in an apartment. I had a request from a subscriber, S-Bob out there. Hey, shout out to S-Bob out there. Requesting a video talking about, that kind of thing. Prepping for someone that's elderly, on a low budget, possibly disabled, and what they can do. So if you're in that category, this video is for you. If you know someone that is elderly, that you can send this to them, you can watch it and tell them what you learned. But that's what this video is talking about, because we do have an aging population and we need to help out everybody that we can. So I'm going to go through a few caveats here to start up front, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of what I have. First off is, well, although I'm getting older, I'm not elderly yet, so I might say stuff that is dumb, stupid, makes no sense. Let me know down below if I say something like that. Apologize in advance if I say something that makes no sense in the elderly community, but let me know down below. I'll be taking all suggestions throughout this. If you have something to add, take away, correct, please do so in the comments down below. Also, I'm not disabled, so once again, I might say something that doesn't make sense or doesn't really fit with the disabled community. So if I do that, once again, not trying to be hurtful or anything, just trying to do my best to come up with role play. Basically, I try to role play what I would do in that situation and see what I can come up with. So that's what we did here. Next thing I wanted to put out there before we get started on all this is you're going to need community, because obviously you might be alone. You said you're disabled, you're not going out, you're reliant on other people. So you're going to need a community. That community could be your neighbor across the hallway, because like I said, that you're in an apartment. Could be a neighbor down the hall. You're going to need people to do things for you. So make friends. Maybe they'll go shopping for you. Maybe they'll do some work for you in exchange for knowledge or just the guidance of someone that's older and wiser. So you need to build that community. Also, you need to find religion at this point if you're not religious. Churches are great places. They love to do food drives, clothing drives. They love helping out the elderly community. So if you're not religious or you can't go to church, doesn't matter. Contact a church, any denomination, no matter what you are, what you want to do. They all want to help a lot of people out. So any denomination of church, great place to seek out, help for anything you might have. Also, like I said, I have a bunch of notes here. I'm going to see me looking down a lot because I don't want to miss anything that I came up with along with that. So, and if you can't go to church because you're disabled, you can still email them. If you're watching this, obviously you have internet or your family member does. Email them, contact them on their website, tell them your needs. A lot of them will come to you to help you out. You don't have to go to them. Or this is why you need community, because you have that friend across the hallway. Maybe they can stop by the church, pick up the stuff for you, and bring it back. So remember, that community is very important. Next, we're going to see me talk about these a lot. Tea light candles. I love these. I think they're going to have many great uses for you and what you're doing. So start stacking these. They're relatively cheap. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at Walmart, the $1.25 store now, a lot of places. Tea light candles, you're going to need a lot of these. Start stacking these. They're small, easy to stack, all that great stuff. So we're going to talk a lot about those. Remember the tea light candle. Next, you're going to have to mentally prepare yourself, to be a scavenger, to repurpose things, be a MacGyver. My generation, your generation probably know what I'm talking about. You can take some useless stuff, make something useful out of it. How can you repurpose that bottle, that can? Should I keep it? Should I fill it with something? Whatever it is, start thinking about repurposing, scavenging, all that kind of stuff. Lastly here, last thing I have is try to get rid of any vices you have that may be either hurting your health or costing you money, so you can save money for more food, water, and that stuff. And what would that be? Well, do you smoke? Okay, that's not only bad for your health, but it's very expensive. Drinking alcohol, even coffee, try to wean yourself as much as possible. Sugar is a huge vice. It's very addictive. Not only is it bad for you, but because you put on weight, but it's an unnecessary expense a lot of times. We're going to talk about how it can be useful in the medical world, but any vice you have that is you're spending extra money on that you could focus wherever else, try to eliminate that as much as possible. So let's get on now with the prepping items. So we're going to talk about security. You're not bugging out. You're staying in your apartment, like I said, because you're elderly, disabled. You have no bug out place to go, no one to come get you. So you're bugging in. You're staying in your apartment. So what do you got to do? You got to keep people out. Hopefully there's, as us Bub was saying, it's a tiny apartment. So there's hopefully only one entrance, maybe a balcony. You need to secure that entrance. Keep people from coming in. So In an instance where there's power's out, social unrest, whatever it may be, you want to have a way, whether it be blinds or drapes or something, darken the windows. Have that set up so you're going to be the gray man. You're blending in. You're going to make it look like no one's there, no reason to try to come in. So you're going to have to be able to darken your windows, cover those, and then secure that door. And one of the things that you can use to secure the door is like the door brace. This goes on the floor. This goes against the doorknob. Brace it in there. Very hard to get through. It could work a lot. You can buy one of those for every door. Yes, you have to buy it. I know this is for limited income, so you might have to save 2 or 3 months enough to buy one of these. By the way, all the stuff I show you as much as possible, I'll try to link it in the description so you can pick it up online if you can, and just give you an idea. So I'll try to, all the stuff you'll find in the description as much as possible, just to help you get ideas and if you want to buy something. Another thing you can get on your door is these things called door brackets, and you bolt them or screw them in, not to the molding, not to that, but to the frame, to the actual studs on each side. And I'll put a picture here so you can see as we're talking here what I'm talking about. But pretend this yardstick is a 2x4. So you have it bolted, against the wall, 2x4 against it, so the door can't open. The door, someone have to either break that 2x4 or bust these out, and they're screwed into the studs. So this will really help keep people out. So those are called door brackets. And that'll help secure you, because besides doing that or anything else you can use to help secure that door, you want to keep people out, because once they come in, then you're in a self-defense situation. And that's not what this video is about, because then there's all kinds of things you talk about self-defense, whether it be kinetic weapons or bear spray, taser, knife, whatever. It's all, you got to be trained for it. It's got to be legal where you're at. So once you're in that self-defense situation, being elderly and disabled, it's a much bigger issue. So let's focus on keeping people out, keeping those doors locked, keeping secured, being the gray man so nobody wants to come in. So we got that out of the way. Let's talk about water. We need to focus on water. One of the most important things you need, because you're in an apartment, and right now water is cheap relatively because it's coming out of your faucet, and you want to utilize that. You're going to start storing your faucet water. And how much do you need? A lot of people say 1 gallon a day. That's enough. Well, I think you need at least 2, because remember, you got to cook, you got to do some cleaning of your body and your dishes and stuff, your clothing. You might be doing the clothing in the sink, but you still have to keep clean, right? So you need water for that, and also just to drink to stay alive. So I think 2 gallons would be minimum, 3 would be best. But you're in a small apartment, not going to have a lot of room. So you have to figure out how long do I think possibly I need, figure out how many gallons you need, and figure out where to store it. Now you're going to, like I said, your apartment is your storage site. So it might start looking strange. You're going to store stuff under beds, in closets, under couches, in the corners, in the open, under the coffee table. You're going to need to store stuff everywhere. So start with the water. So where are you going to put this water in? Well, every container you have, whether it be a juice container, a water bottle, a pickle container, whatever you have that you can hold water that's BPA free, fill it with tap water. Well, first, obviously, clean it out. Make sure it's clean and ready to go. Fill it with tap water, put the cap back on, and then store it. And then you're going to rotate it. Use that water as you go through. So that's why it's always fresh. You want to keep it nice, clean, fresh, available, ready to go. Store water. Do the math of how much you want to store. And for containers, we talk about to use. If you don't have them, that's where the community comes in. That neighbor that recycles across the hall, down the hall, they have kids, they have a lot of juice containers. You see them recycling, maybe you stop and ask them, can I have a few of those? Can I have, I'm doing a project. If you don't want them to know, because you're the agreements, I'm doing a project. I want to, put some plants in them. Whatever the excuse may be, ask them for them and get them and put them in yours. And maybe they'll bring them to you all the time. But that's a way to get, storage compartments. Because you're not buying water totes. You're not buying the fancy water jugs that slide under beds. You're using whatever container you have, and you're putting the water in there. Do that. Now, that's when the water's running, so you want to do it now. If the water stops running or becomes tainted, you're going to need a water filter. Because even if the water you stored tastes funny, or it's, maybe something happened to it, you're going to want a filter. And I would use a life straw. And so I'll put a picture up here so you can check it out. Like I said, they've been on sale at Amazon for about $10. Yes, you need to buy it, but you need to have one. You don't have to get a life straw. Get something like it, whatever it may be, but get a water filter in case you need to filter the water. If the tap water's coming out a little bit and you can still use it when the power's off or whatever, but the water's still coming out for a while, at least you can filter it and have potable water for yourself. So do that. Next, let's move on to food here. Food, you're going to stack what you eat. What you're eating now, try to get more of it. You're on a budget, low income, try to buy an extra can or bag or whatever you eat once or twice every time you go shopping or someone has food delivered. Try to get one extra, put it away. That way you can start building up an inventory as much as possible. This also where, like I said, churches come in, food drives, food donations, call around, get online, fill out forms, whatever you can do. Swallow that pride, ask for assistance because that's what you need and that's what they're there for. They're there to help. Also, you want to buy rice, pasta, and beans. You always hear rice and beans. I throw pasta in there because pasta lasts a long time. Also, you're not doing long-term storage. You don't have the money for 5-gallon buckets and Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers and freeze-dried food and all that. MREs, you don't have that. So rice, beans, pasta, store room temperature in the original packaging even for a long time, years. They're going to last a long time just sitting around. So that's what we're going to focus on. They're relatively cheap now. Are they more than they were a couple years ago? Yes. But rice is for calories. White rice is great for calories. Brown rice doesn't store as long because it has the oils in it. So white rice stores a very long time. It has a lot of calories. Beans has your proteins. It could be pinto, lentils, whatever beans you want, get those as well. And then you have the pasta, which is basically, everybody knows what pasta is. It's also just, full of calories. You're going to have pasta sauce with it, to make it flavorful to eat. So you're going to have to stack that as well. And then something cheap, if you have your rice and beans, you need to flavor it. No one wants to eat just rice and beans. So get salt now. Salt is cheap. Get salt, stack salt. You can probably get 10 or 15 pounds of salt, easy to store in the corner, lasts forever, obviously, and it flavors. Also get a cheap spice. Whatever that cheap spice may be, get it so you can flavor it. For the military, a lot of people use Tabasco sauce. You can get that as well, hot sauce. It covers up a lot of things, and people like the taste of it. So get something to flavor the food as much as possible. Moving on there, now, you don't have vegetables. Also, you're not going to the grocery store. You're not going to be able to have a lot of vegetables around. You're not growing anything. So you're going to have vitamins. Try to get one-a-day vitamins, multivitamin, because you're not getting all the nutrients you should out of fresh fruit or vegetables. You have to replace that to stay healthy. So get some vitamins. You're going to need those. And then what else we got here? If you can make bread, because you can cook, you can still bake, get flour, because you can make bread. Every day you can do it if you need to, or twice a week. But bread is flour, yeast, water, oil, and salt. Boom, you have bread. Yeast, you can buy it in blocks. You can have a sourdough starter that sits on your shelf and you just feed it a little flour every couple days. But bread's another way to get a lot of calories, something you can make if you have power to cook. If you don't, you're not doing that, obviously. If you can afford it, every once in a while to get some canned meat, that would help out a lot too. Not only does it give you something else to eat, a great source of protein. So look at canned meats. If you can afford to buy 1 or 2 cans every now and then, store them away. There's a big debate about the expiration dates. So, you keep it after expiration date? I do personally. I've eaten stuff a couple years older than expiration dates. You do what you feel safe with, but, it's a best buy. It's not even regulated by the FDA. They don't even have to put that on there. So, do what you want with that information, but, make your own decision on the keeping the dates of the food around. What else do we have? Okay, so how are you going to get the food? You got churches, maybe they'll deliver it. Maybe you can ask a neighbor to shop for you if they're going out to the store. Maybe you can ask them to pick up a few things. Just think about how the community can help you out. And then you figure, okay, that's great now. I can do all that now, cook now because the power's on, all that. What happens if the power goes off? You need a plan for that. How are you going to cook in the apartment, with no power? Because you have no gas maybe. If you have a gas stove and the stove flowing with gas, I talked about the tea lights. We're going to get into this in a minute, but have a way to light these things. A couple ways. Matches, big lighters, store them up. Have multiple ways to light these. If you have a gas stove, gas is running, you can still cook. If you're on electricity, you out of luck for that. But there's still a way to cook. You cook with these tea lights. Will it be slow? Will it be hard? Yes. But as you can see from the photos I'm putting up, you put a few tea lights up, and you put something like canned food around it, something to hold it up above, put the frying pan on top, and you can cook. At least you can heat up food. You can put a pot with some water, put the rice in there. It might take a long time, but the rice will cook. The beans, you soak them a long time overnight. They get soft, heat them up and cook them. Same with the pasta. Are you getting a rolling boil with these? Probably not, but you know what? You can cook with this. That's why I like tea lights. You're cooking with them. You're getting hot. Have a lot of these because, yes, you can still cook with them. So stack those to the rafters if you can. And then right now, while you have time, while there is no end of the world, practice. Practice with them tea lights. Practice. See how hot does that pot of water get? How hot does that frying pan get? What can I cook? How do I cook the rice, beans, or the pasta, or whatever else I eat? Instant noodles. How do I cook it with tea lights? Practice now. You don't want to do the first practice when you need to. You want to do it now. Take notes, and recalculate what you did. Do it again. Practice now with cooking that way, because it's going to be very different, obviously, but you will be able to do it, and you'll be able to eat. The food will be warm. Warm food's good for the soul, the mind, and the body, of course. So that's what I have about food in there. Like I said, as I go through this, put all your suggestions below of what you would do as well. Let's talk about medical. So you're elderly, you're probably on medication, you might have certain devices that are using electricity to help you out, whatever it may be. Get as much medication as you can from your doctor that's legally, available. If he can give you extra prescriptions, another month or two worth, ask him. Someone will do it. Try to do that. So stack as much medication as your doctor will allow you to stack. If you have devices that run electricity, on a budget, do you have backup power for it? Probably not. So that's something you have to think about. What are you going to do? Can you get some battery backup? Can you get a solar battery pack? Those are expensive. They're not cheap. It's going to cost $200 or $300 for even the smallest one that's about 700 watt hours. It'll last you a night if you need it. But backup power is going to be your biggest hindrance. So anything you do medically to get off the device that medically is keeping you going, you're going to need to do that. If your medical device is one of those like an insulin pump and it's on battery, you're going to have to stack batteries for those, obviously. You're going to have to do what you do. So stack the power for the device you need, that if it stops working, you die. That's what you're going to need to do. Other medications, over-the-counter stuff, get it as you can. A lot of times, like I said, churches and other community services people will provide those for you. And you're not going out. You're not going to have the hemostat. You're not going to have the chest seal. You're not going to have any of that medical. You don't have the money for that kind of medical gear. But what you do have money for is the basic medics. Even if you don't have money for Band-Aids, what you're going to do, let me get some of the stuff over here so I can show you. So for Band-Aids, all you need is this. So this is gauze. You can find this, a box of this. This is what, 25 large pads? I think these were $3 when I found them on sale on Amazon for 25. And then you get some tape. I know as elderly, there's certain tape that will peel your skin off and some won't get the right tape, but buy some tape, get some gauze. When these come out, they're in big 4-inch 4-inch things here. You cut those up with scissors and you make your own Band-Aid. You put the gauze over the wound and you use the tape and you cover it up. So you make your own bandages. Very cheap way to make your own bandages. Get some kind of antibacterial cream, some Neosporin. This is the stuff I love. Keeps me safe when you get a cut. Yes, you actually have to buy it, but the tube lasts for a long time. Get 1 or 2 tubes. That way you get a little cut, put it on there. It's gauze, tape, bandage. You're not going to get infected, not going to get worse. You're better off for it. So antibacteria stuff, gauze, tape. And if you can splurge, if you have the way to do it, a finger pulse oximeter is really good. So it's going to tell you your heart rate, your oxygen content within your blood. So if you think you're having a problem, you can put this on really quick. See what your oxygenation level is of your blood. See what your heart rate is. It's a way to diagnose a problem. They're like around $30. Like I said, I'll link it as well. So it is more expensive, but it could be something to help diagnose where you're at. Also, get a tourniquet. These are not cheap. They're not. They're like $30 now or something right now. So you're going to have to save for it, ask it for a gift or something, but you get a large cut. In your arm, your leg, you fell, accident happens, and you can't get out, help can't get to you, you're going to have to stop that bleeding. You're going to, you want to use this, you're going to use some of your tape, your gauze, maybe you have an ace bandage as well, but hopefully you can take care of yourself. That's like the base minimum medical stuff and the cheapest way to go for that stuff. So if you have any other suggestions, write it below, but that's what I have for medical for, the minor stuff. Bigger stuff than that, you're going to have to try to find that neighbor that can take care of you or take you somewhere to get assistance. But, excuse me, that should take care of a lot of issues. Moving on from medical, let's go into Heating, staying warm. A lot of places are getting cold now, and you can die from just being cold. You don't have to freeze. You can get hypothermia. You can be, if it gets below 40 or 50 in your apartment, you can get cold. If the power goes out and it starts getting cold, what do? Well, wool. Wool is your friend. So you want wool socks, wool blankets, and a wool cap or, hat or whatever that is. You cover the head, the feet, and wrap a wool blanket around you, you're going to be a lot better off. So this is where clothing drives come in, from churches, community events, wherever it may be. Try to get some there. Or you're going to have to budget and save up and get like a 90% wool blanket, because it won't be itchy and it's still very warm. You get the wool socks and a wool hat, and you're going to be able to keep warm. Don't open the oven and turn it on. Try to heat the apartment with the oven. You end up just probably killing yourself or wasting a lot of energy and money doing that. Try wool and keep it going with that. So try doing that as much as you can. And then you have these again. You're going to make a tea light heater. And I'll put some pictures up here as I talk about how they do that. But you can use tea lights, a clay pot, which you can get very cheap online. You get one or two of them. And, you're going to, basically put the tea lights underneath it, put the clay pots above it, let it go. It'll radiate heat. Is it heating the whole apartment? No. But can it heat where you're at by your bedside? Yes. If you have a way to close down even to a smaller space, it'll even heat that up. But it'll keep you warm enough. And then, once you heat up that area, that clay pot is warm. You can transfer it to the bed safely and heat it, roll around the bed. Just transfer that heat into the sleeping area to help out a little bit. But the tea lights and making a tea light heater will help a lot. So try it out, practice with it. It produces more heat than you'd think. And so you need to build yourself one of those and practice with that before it happens. Like I say, all these things need to be practiced. Also with all this, because I mentioned candles and tea light, have a fire extinguisher. You're going to have to get one somehow, because you don't want a fire to happen and burn the place down, because that'll either, kill you or a lot of people in the building. So with everything, don't fall asleep with the candles lit, and have a fire extinguisher. Always have a fire extinguisher on hand next to you. What do we have next? Cooling. Not as easy, because, you don't want to run the AC. It's expensive. So you have a fan, a cheap fan, just a box fan. Save it for it. Look for free stuff. I'm going to talk about later in the video where to look for free stuff. Try to get a box fan. As long as you have power, it'll blow air. You sit in front of it, you get cool. You can also put water-soaked rags in front of the, tied onto the outside of the fan. It'll blow across there and make it a little cooler. That's how you can stay cool. So try to get yourself a fan for the hotter points. Lighting. Power goes out. You have light now, you have electricity on, everything's good, but let's plan for prepping before the lights go out, whether it be a storm or grid down or EMP or something like that. Long term, you're in an apartment, one of the worst things is not being able to see. So lights go out, what are you going to have? Yeah, you can have flashlights. That's great if you have one, but you have to have batteries or rechargeable flashlight that's been charged up. Now there's no power, so you can't recharge it unless you have a solar battery pack. But like I said, you're on a budget, so you might not have that. So either have extra batteries or candles once again. We're back to the candles. We're back to these babies. Like I said, tea lights. They produce light. You can put them on trays, on dishes. You can put them in coffee mugs, carry it around. It'll make light, enough for you to see and get around. This is your light source at night, is your tea light candles, once again. And, during the day, obviously, you won't need that. And then, last thing about light. I know you're storing stuff. A lot of stuff I'm talking about is being stored in the apartment. It's going to be full of stuff. But if everything has a place and everything is in its place and it's dark, you should know how to find stuff. I learned that in the military, whether it's my rucksack or my vehicle. Even if it was pitch dark, I knew where everything was. I could touch and feel it in pitch dark and knew how to get stuff. You should know that around your apartment. You should know where to go by touch and feel in the darkness or very dim tea light candle, how to get around where things are. Practice that. You can make a drawing that helps you mentally visualize where everything is. Draw a map around your apartment, whatever it may be. Have everything where it should be, so when it's dark, you know where everything is. You can find it in the dark. Let's move on to cleanliness, staying clean, staying healthy. So you got to clean. Right now you have probably dish soap, laundry soap, shampoo, conditioner, all that stuff. Well, if you want to focus down, save money, and budget for something for preparing in case you can't get all that, you want bar soap. That's my thing. And I use Ivory soap. Could be any bar soap, but I like Ivory soap. Just the bar soap. Lasts forever. It's not going to spill, dry up. You just stack them. They're stackable. You can, 100 of them takes up hardly any space. They're relatively inexpensive. So get bar soap because you obviously shower with it. You can do dishes with it. Got to just make sure you rinse it really well. So you're showering with it. You're doing dishes. You can do clothes with it. You can clean, spot clean clothes with it. It does everything you need. So stack some bar soap. That's the best thing you can have for cleanliness because you want to be clean so you stay free of bacteria, food, disease, all that stuff. Just, and you want to clean yourself, obviously, so you don't have trouble with that. Stack bar soap. I prefer ivory, but get your hands on whatever you can. And like I said, lasts forever, easy to stack. Then you have to deal with trash. So if right now you have your trash, put in a bag, take it to the dumpster, you throw it down the chute, whatever you do. Let's say that service stops or it's civil unrest or something worse and you're not leaving. You've barricaded that door, you put your brackets up, and you can't. Well, you're going to have to put the trash in bags if you have them. Save every shopping bag. Ask your neighbors for shopping bags. Ask your friends. Collect bags. Every plastic bag you can. Put the trash in there. Now, like I said, this is a time when there maybe isn't trash service, a little lawless going on. You don't want to keep the trash in your house because you're going to invite critters and vermin and roaches and mice and whatever. So you got to get rid of it. So what do? Well, if you have windows that open, well, maybe at night you got to throw it out the window. Like I said, not during lawful times, not when there's service, but this is when it's hit the fan. And that's all you have to do. Well, at night, like I said, cover of darkness, gray man, you open that window, back like in 1600s and people used to throw stuff out in the streets. That's what you're doing again. You're going to chuck it out the window because that's what you need to do to survive. And that brings me to pooping and peeing, right? Bodily waste. What do we do? Because as long as there's water and there's sewer, you still use your toilet. But let's say water stops or the sewer's backed up and you can't. Let's first talk about if the water stopped but the sewer still works. Well, you have the bottled water you save. You could use it to flush the toilet. Now, you got to decide for yourself, is that the best use? Do you want to use your potable water to flush the toilet or not? Yes or no, that's up to each individual to decide to do that. It'll go through your water a lot faster that way, but it's a decision you have to make. Now, let's say the sewer doesn't work. You don't want to flush it because you don't want to overflow into your apartment, and it's not refilling because there's no service. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to need to make a makeshift toilet. Okay, you're going to get a 5-gallon bucket. You're going to check out this picture here. Maybe it's over here, wherever I put it. 5-gallon bucket with a plastic bag in it and like pool, on those pool noodles, the foam noodles. You're going to put it on there so you have somewhere to sit nice and comfortable. You can sit on there without anything. You can buy even a toilet seat online at Amazon and it just lays on top. But cheapest way, bucket, pool noodle, bag. Like I said, if you don't have a pool noodle, you just sit on there. I've done that myself in the military before. When you're out, you got to take care of business. You got to do what you got to do. You sit on there, you poop and pee into a bag, you tie it up. You can store for a while, especially if you have a balcony. You can store on the balcony for a while. And then you might come to the point where since trash is not being picked up, it's getting bad enough, you might have to, chuck it over out the window itself, over the balcony, whatever you need to do, just so you don't, leave that because, that will obviously produce, cholera, sickness, all kinds of bad stuff having that around. If you don't have bags, you can still do your business in the bucket, you dump it, and then you have to clean it out. You have to use a little bit of your water, your ivory soap, clean it out. You got to be clean, but that's how you're going to handle your waste. If you have any ideas, like I said, put them down below. Talking about power. Well, you're not going to have backup power. You're probably not going to have that solar backup pack, because it's too expensive unless you get your hands on one. So, you have to deal with living in the dark with candles. Like I said, these. That's what you're going to do for your power. That's your power source. That's going to be your light, your cooking, your heat. That's what you're going to rely on. Communication. Your cell phone, let's say it stopped working, the batteries run out, you can't talk to anybody, you don't have a landline, maybe you do, that'd be great. You want to see what's going on? You need a cheap AM FM radio. Cheap one, maybe 15, 20 bucks. If you can get a shortwave, it's going to be a lot more. But just AM FM radio, it's going to be on batteries, obviously, so you have to have some side batteries to run it. But that way you can get some news, what's going on, what's happening. Play a little music. It's good for your mind, your soul every once in a while. Have a AM FM radio if you can. And we'll talk about in a minute where to get some of this stuff. Well, not in a minute. We're talking about now. So we talk about common with that. Free stuff. Where do you get this stuff? Where could you get free radio? People get rid of stuff. Well, it happens all the time. You need to start, if you have access to the internet, it's your biggest option of what to do. If you don't, you're going to have to rely on your community, your church, to bring this to ask for this stuff for you. But if you're online and you have the ability now, why there's power, electricity, and internet, you want to hit Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor, OfferUp. A lot of apartments have community boards where people can give away stuff, but all those sites have free sections. Look for it. Find what you need. Search it, every day if you have time. Things you're looking for. People give away radios and water jugs and clothing. A lot of stuff for free. Contact that person and tell them, hey, I can't get it because I'm disabled. I can't leave. Is there any way you could drop it off? Some people have a kind heart. Lots of people do. They might do it. If not, you need that neighbor across the hall or down, down a couple doors, and you can say, hey, I found this free thing I really need. Would you be willing to go pick it up for me and bring it here? And I'll bake you a cookie, or I'll do this for you. Whatever you can do. I'll watch your dog. I'll dog sit for you. I'll water your plants if you can, or whatever you can do for them. Offer something. A lot of people do it. And yes, you're highly reliant on other people, but search those sites out. You'll find a lot of free stuff. And that way you can build it on the cheapest way possible. So that wraps up what I have. Hopefully any of this helps. Hopefully you gain something out of this. Please, write down below if you have suggestions for the elderly, the people in low income, disabled, and what they can also do. And, like I said, correct anything I might have said that was crazy or incorrect or have a better solution. More than happy to listen to all that and, and bring it up in another video if I need to talk about further. So that's all I have for you. Like I said, hopefully you got something out of this. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.